You can absolutely conquer whatever it is you choose to confront. In this show, we talk PTG, we listen and believe, we support and empower. Whether you have experienced domestic violence personally or not, someone you know has. Your circle of family, friends, acquaintances, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men will experience domestic violence at some point in their life. Physical abuse is only one of the many forms of domestic violence. Survivors also report experience of verbal, emotional, spiritual, sexual, financial, electronic, and so much more. Domestic violence does not discriminate. It can leave you traumatized and devastated, mentally, emotionally, financially. You can find yourself homeless, jobless, helpless. The list can go on. There's blankets of insecurities, triggers, doubts, and other residual effects that become hurdles that impact our life as we do our best to move on. Many people associate butterflies with a sense of freedom. We've been taught along the way to focus on the transformation that takes place inside of the cocoon. I invite you to take a moment to conceptualize all the odds the caterpillar was up against and needed to defeat in order to get to a safe place, to build its cocoon and actually experience the transformation. My name is A. Garcia. I am a mother and survivor of a double attempted homicide. Now, I'm dedicating my life to take yours to the next level by experiencing post-traumatic growth to begin a new chapter in your life. Let's get started on this journey together. Confronting Domestic Violence is a 501c3. All contributions, volunteers, and sponsorships are welcomed. It takes a community to make a difference. Nobody should suffer alone. Please scan the QR code.
Hey, Garcia here, and thank you for tuning in. What we cover here is not intended to ignite any triggers. For what you want to conquer, you must confront. So, welcome to Confronting Domestic Violence. Today, I have Mara to introduce, and we're going to talk about her journey in helping others to a healthier life. And my goodness, what a journey this has been. I am so pleased to announce, Mara.
Thank you.
Welcome.
It is such a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. I find you so incredible and inspiring, and I'm honored to know you and to be here today. So thank you.
You're making me blush. Thank you for being here. I have the same sentiments. Thank you so much. And we were talking backstage. Actually, let's just put a disclaimer out here. We just met the other day. We were both guests. We were invited to a radio show, and that is where we met. This was literally less than 72 hours ago, and we're already connected.
Yes, we hit it off. We hit it off with ease.
And that's what I love about women who can just hit it off that fast, empower each other, and feel like we've known each other forever.
Do good together and do good.
Yes. And
Make
do
change.
good.
Make change. Yes.
So we were talking a bit backstage, and I was asking some questions, and it got so exciting that we were like, okay, no more. We just have to wait until it's real time. So I would like you to start with where you were talking about your intentions on going for your master's in social work at the university, and then what you ended up being a part of and taking us through that journey.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I have my master's in social work. And in order to get it, I had to do internships and work with people and get a lot of experience before I achieved the master's. And for a year, I worked with women who were confronted with domestic violence. And now this was, 25 years ago, aging myself, 25 years ago. And we had beepers. And what would happen was I was part of an agency. And when a woman, it takes a lot of courage. It takes bravery for a woman to make the move and get out of there. And so sometimes that happens when they have some alone time. The abuser goes away for an hour or two, or the abuser falls asleep, and they have a chance to build up that courage and go, which takes a lot. And so there was an emergency number. And when a woman called the emergency number, no matter what time of day it was, I would get a beep, stop what I was doing, and meet them and take the woman to a safe house. And then we would work with Department of Social Services and help them furnish their home, help them get a bed, help them get lighting, help them get a mini refrigerator or something, just so that they can start building their new life. And it's somewhere safe where their abuser hopefully does not or couldn't find them. And it was hard. It was overwhelming because you really see a lot when that's happening. And it makes you think a lot about women and strength and what they go through, because so often I would meet a woman, help her get somewhere safe, and then 2 days later she would go right back, because it's a cycle. It's that the devil is better than sometimes the devil you don't know. It was very enlightening, and I learned a lot from that experience. And the women that I was able to help felt amazing. And the women that didn't succeed at that time, I know that I gave them some support and I gave them someone to lean on when they needed help. And it was fantastic and overwhelming and scary and fulfilling all at the same time. It was incredible.
It sounds like that because I have all those emotions going through my body right now while I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
I'm
and
sure.
I think that I want to break down so much because just in that small segment that you gave, there's so much to unpack. Just for starters, that there was an actual person that they could reach on the other end and actually meet them somewhere. In today's world, I don't know of any agency that sends somebody out if you're not calling 911 to have the authorities come. There's a much longer process these days where you have to apply, be vetted, have
Wow.
availability. I am not aware of any space that you can call that will have somebody meet you in person and help.
Yeah, no, it was in person. It was my friends. I was in school at the time, and my friends thought I was crazy because I would just leave at a moment's notice and go meet someone somewhere. And it was what I wanted to do. I always wanted to help people. I've always wanted to work with people and help people. And at that time, that was the opportunity I had. But no, I met the woman. I'm so sad to hear you don't have that anymore. I didn't keep up with that part, and I wish I did right now.
Listen, no fault at all. We're just, that's what these great conversations are for. We're identifying some gaps here. And
Yes.
I'll be honest with you, I do a lot of research, and domestic violence is one of the most riskiest calls for officers to respond to. And I personally have my own story of domestic violence, and you do get strength out of nowhere when your emotions are involved. And you never know what somebody's willing to do for the love or hate that they have towards somebody else. I just recently saw a clip in Florida, or no, excuse me, Los Angeles, where a husband who was served divorce papers, he drove a cement truck for a living and rammed it into the house where the lady was sleeping, knowing his wife was sleeping in that room, and he's ramming his truck into the house. It was all over the news. You never know. So 20 years ago, I'm so happy to hear that they actually had people that were willing to go and help. And I'm understanding why your friends are saying, like, oh my gosh, you're putting yourself at so much risk, because now you're like basically getting in the way of what somebody else is feeling for the other individual, whether it's, an extreme love or an extreme hate or an extreme
Yes.
control.
I was too young and naive to realize that at that point. And I wasn't thinking what the repercussions could be, but at the time it didn't matter, right? That person needed help right then and there.
Yeah.
And I had the agency to give me the supplies and the support to help them get where they needed to be. We weren't always successful, but when we were, it was amazing.
And when you're saying successful, you can only help. It's like leading the horse to the water. You can take them and show them where and what is available. But as it relates to successful, I mean, that once you're given tools, it's you using them for yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can only do what you can do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it
So
was amazing. It was an amazing experience.
It sounds like it. And so talk to me a little bit when you were based on how long were you doing that for?
Did it for 2 semesters in college, so about 10 months.
Wow. So in about 10 months, how many women would you say you helped?
Probably like 7 or 8,
So almost one a month. That was
almost one a month.
And that was just you. And this is not even including the other volunteers or other interns that were working with you under the same program, right?
Yes. And
So
sometimes some people you just met with once or twice and they moved on, and some people you built a relationship with and you really stuck with, depending
yeah.
on their needs and their wants.
But that's just putting into perspective how many calls you guys are getting a day, a week, a month, based on how many people were in the program. And my goodness, how much help was being actually extended and offered and taken advantage of. That's where I'm also seeing gaps where when you are in a situation, you're not sure where the resources are. You're not even sure where to find the help. Just knowing where to ask for it. I wouldn't have considered a college. I didn't consider a college. I was looking at my local county social services.
I was working for a local county social service.
Oh, okay.
I
Got
was
it.
just a college student studying to be a social worker, but I was working for that agency. So yes.
Okay.
But I would think today, and I haven't done the research, I would think today you could Google something and find a place. No?
That would defeat the purpose of confidentiality and safety, because if you can just Google where a safe house is or where a shelter may be.
Oh yeah, no, keep those private. I'm in an agency, the people to support you.
Oh, yes. So that becomes a bit of a challenge as well, because there are several 1-800 numbers and everybody is a referral to everybody else. And it can take up to, it took me over 1,000 phone calls and 8 months to get to somebody. And it wasn't until I found an advocate that was like, somebody else that I've been like basically hounding for continuous help. They were able to locate this individual, and it was an advocate that understood
That's
the different
incredible.
programs, the different legislative programs that are funded. Like, you have to find an advocate that knows the legal systems and programs in the state you reside before you can find somebody that actually is like boots on the ground that can help.
Yeah.
And that type of, I would say at that magnitude, because there's courts involved, there's restraining orders involved, there's so many
Bureaucracy.
different things that you have to go through.
They've complicated it. It's such
And
a,
there's so many different agencies, and the communication between agencies is a problem as well.
it should be so simple. It should be woman in need, people helping, not all that extra, all those obstacles. They really
Yeah.
make it hard.
It seems very divided. Absolutely. Yes. That's one of the goals of confronting domestic violence, is linking up different agencies and becoming more JVing, like joint venturing, so
Yep.
that there can be like a full program and not just like a section. Because like you were saying earlier, some of these women went back within 2 days. And even though your heart went out to them, knowing that was not the safe space or smart decision, that's their decision, it's their life, you cannot control what they do.
No.
Or anything for that matter. And yeah, sometimes the unknown is scarier than the known, and we as women will reach a point at some time in our life where we say, okay, this is absolute no more.
Right.
At least that person got to the point where they were like, okay, I'm making a call. That means that they already acknowledged it. That's like the
Right.
hardest thing right there.
Yes. Started the first step. The first step has started.
Right. And then for you to give that hope, to show that, hey, there is a full on like program here that can help you from A to Z, that's so much hope. And
Yeah.
that right there, that next call would hopefully be that final call. Because
Exactly.
then we look at abusing the system, and we try to avoid that at all costs as well.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So while you went through that, and you said it was very fulfilling and very adrenaline driven and all of that too, what would you say, or could you say that there was like vicarious trauma that you were living through perhaps with these women?
Say I got emotionally attached sometimes, or it was painful to watch them and see what was going on, what the real world was about. When you're in a college, you're a little bit safe. It's a little bit of a fake world, but then to go out into the real world, not even go out to my home where I lived with my family, but to go out into the real world where real life is happening could be frightening. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then you're seeing it from this perspective as a woman. Yeah. Wow. And first, I absolutely want to thank you for that internship that you did and that desire and passion that you had and that you still have actually.
Yes, but
And
life changes and I'm not as involved as I once was.
yeah, but that's comes with growth and understanding who you are and where your
Yes,
true desires lie so you can pursue your happiness.
absolutely.
And I think that's where I want to lead into. Usually I ask for a wounds to wisdom statement towards the end, but since we're not going to go my traditional route, I'm going to ask you your wounds to wisdom statement now so we can lead into what you're doing today for other women.
So I love to help women. I always knew I was going to be helping people. That was always my goal. And so I needed to find the right vehicle to do that. And lo and behold, I'm an extrovert. I love sales and I love changing. I'm on a mission, a few missions. Number one, to change that sales doesn't have to be awful. People say, oh, I would never be a salesperson. You can sell with integrity, with a heart to help people and not just be numbers and not care. So I love to sell products that people need that are good for them. And I love to help them get a great sale price or not spend too much or be within their budget, but really using all natural, clean products to make themselves feel their best. And so I found a product line that I could represent, but even more to my heart, even more on my heartstrings is I have the ability to mentor women who need to make some extra money right now, and they can do what I do. So if someone is comfortable on social media, I can mentor someone on how to use social media and how to be a really caring, heartfelt salesperson and share products that are going to better people and earn some extra money. And we get paid twice a day. So I could help someone who needs money right now for diapers or right now for gas for their car. I could help them get that independence if they need that or they're desiring that. I can mentor them to do that and help them immediately, which to me is very exciting because we live in a time where even going back to the wounds and the abuse where women can't leave where they are because they can't even afford it. So just knowing if they're able to start their own little business on their own in their environment, if that's possible, I could help them get some money to help them get where they need to go.
I need to wrap this up in a bow real quick because I'm seeing such a beautiful package right here. So although 20 years ago there was a number to call and people to show up to physically help, and today there may not be. There is a 1-800-799-7233 phone number that can be called. That's 1-800-799-SAFE. And that's a phone number that can be called for help. It's a national phone number. They can give you help and resources and assistance based on your location. There's also a text that you can send them. It's 88788. And from what I'm understanding, it takes a lot. What I know, it takes a lot in order to recognize that you're in a situation and to have the courage to get up and go. And Confronting Domestic Violence is a nonprofit 501c3. If you have a safe place to go, but not the means to get there, that's where we come in and help. What I am hearing today from Mara is that she has an absolute methodology that can help you start earning money right away. So finances cannot or should not or will not be the factor that stops you or prevents you from getting to a place that you know you and your kids deserve for safety and peace.
Yes, absolutely. But I do need to give a little disclaimer because I
Please
don't
do.
like to be unrealistic. It depends on how much effort and how much work you can do. It's not
Absolutely.
magic. You have to be driven and motivated and follow the steps that I'm happy to mentor you in and do the work. So yes, whether you want to make thousands of dollars and go somewhere new, I can mentor you. And if you do the work, it can happen. If you want to make money for diapers, I can mentor you and you can make that happen. And it's a very small investment for someone to own their own business. So it really is incredible.
Oh my gosh. And this is amazing because there's so many times that finances or the unknown of the next job, if you can't take the job with you or work from home opportunity, that, you know, that is a preventative component.
Even more than you can even imagine, because it's all done through social media. You can go anywhere.
Yes. Yes.
You could be
love it.
anywhere. Yes. And I love to talk to people and support people.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for what you have done and what you are doing and where you are leading others. Seriously, this is the happy neighborhood.
Love the happy neighborhood. So you want to share that?
Share it. Yes, absolutely.
So I love networking. I love meeting people so that I can help people. People need to have networks to get things done, right? You need to have your people to get you where you need to go. And I'm part of an amazing organization. It's all online. It's called Happy Neighborhood Project. I am the co-host for the Northeast Women's Chapter. We meet Thursdays at 11 a.m. East Coast time. It's free. And you could just log in and meet people. It's networking. So you'll be put into a Zoom room with 3 or 4 women. Tell them what you're looking for, what you need, how we can help. And magic happens when you get out there and you talk to people.
That's right. And there's so many of us that have experienced a form of domestic violence or have been exposed to a form of domestic violence. And as soon as we open up and start sharing those types of experiences, there is such a outpour of love and support that you get from others. And this just has been a great connection, and I am so elated to be on a journey with you together. And I just want to thank all of our listeners, and we're gonna go ahead and add these links also, because I know the Happy Neighborhood Network is not on the QR code, so I'm gonna put that link in this episode as well.
Fantastic. Thank you.
All right.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm just so excited to see where our friendship goes. You are a joy and a light, and I'm thrilled and excited that we got to meet each other this week.
Confronting Domestic Violence is a 501c3. All contributions, volunteers, and sponsorships are welcomed. It takes a community to make a difference. Nobody should suffer alone. Please scan the QR code.